Hey there, my name's Gerald, I'm an Igorot, and I want to talk about that a little bit. I used to be very involved with Bebop Vancouver. I was part of the youth group and we would learn how to play gongs and perform dances. But I would only really go because my parents made me. But as we practiced and performed more, I realized that I actually enjoyed doing it. And for a long time, I simply believed that playing the gongs was a really good way of preserving our culture. It wasn't until I attended a workshop led by Michael Wundug where I realized I knew very little about our culture. Sure, I knew how to play some beats, but I was introduced to a wider variety of patterns and dances during this workshop. Now, it's been a long time since then, and I've been very inactive with bebop lately, so I've forgotten a lot of that information. Sorry, Michael, but that's something I want to change. Primarily because I'm now a father, and I can definitely understand why my parents dragged me to those bebop events and get-togethers. They just wanted to preserve the Igorot culture within the next generation. Now, this video is supposed to be about Igorot tattoos, so let's fast forward from those days I played with the Igorot youth to about last year. I decided to get a tattoo to honor my Igorot roots and to somewhat remind me to attend these bebop events again. Spoiler, it hasn't been working out as well as I'd hoped. So I got a hand tap tattoo known as batuk or batik, or I'm sure there's a few other names for it. And I know what the first question is that I would get about my tattoo. Where did you get it? Or in other words, did you get it in the Philippines from Appropriation? No, I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't have the funds or time to do that. But maybe someday I'll be able to get the chance to meet the legendary Manbato. But this isn't about that. So let's get back to my experiences with traditional tattoos. When I decided to get the tattoo, I didn't even think too much of it. Like I said earlier, I just wanted to honor my Igorot roots. And I heard the traditional way of getting it done was to let the tattooist decide on the design, so that's what I went with. But as the day came closer, I started to worry that I wouldn't get the right tattoo. But why would I think that? I actually have one other tattoo in Japanese kanji, of course. It was an impulse decision, and I remember looking it up after I got it to validate it. I was initially horrified to see so many characters come up, but I did find it. The thing is, who knows how credible these sources are as well, but I wasn't thinking that at the time. And the fact that it's out there, even on the internet, for me it was good enough. And it turns out that the associated personal meaning was more important to me than the accuracy of the kanji anyway. So back to my Filipino tattoo. Even though I was a little nervous about it, I went and got it done. It looks nice and I'm pretty happy with it. But questions came up after, and that's what I really want to talk about. The things to think about with tattoos, at least for me, are accuracy or authenticity and meaning. As far as I know, my tattoo is pretty accurate in terms of what I wanted. My dad is from the Apayao province of the Cordillera region in the Philippines, and I wanted a traditional tattoo to represent that. So I googled traditional Apayao tattoos and quickly realized that these aren't well documented. The main search hits are of course Kalinga tattoos, which are because of Apowang-Ud's popularity. So I'll go ahead and say that I'm not 100% sure of the authenticity of my tattoo, but short of conducting scholarly research, I don't think I'm gonna get the validation that I'm satisfied with. But who knows, maybe if I can get to Buscalan, I can get to Apayao as well and see what the elders think about it. And I'm not discrediting the source of my tattoo, that's not what I'm saying at all. But it would be really interesting to see what the elders think about it. So something interesting happens when you Google traditional Filipino tattoos. Let's check it out. There's a lot on Apowang-Ud, which is to be expected. There's also tribal tattoo ideas. And then there's a bunch of articles on these guys. Personally, I didn't get a tattoo from them, but when you look at the articles and from their website, it just looks like they're trying to strengthen their connection to their Filipino roots. And from what I've further gathered, it looks like they're trying to revive ancient Filipino culture and traditions, mainly through tattooing, but I've seen them perform cultural dances as well. And after talking to multiple people, mostly Igorots, the consensus seems to be anger. What are they doing? Are they part of Bebop? Are they even Igorot? These are just some of the questions that come up. But why the anger? Well, I think it's due to the fact that they're somewhat appropriating our Igorot culture. Although it's not as obvious as Gucci using turbans as fashion accessories, I think this is still a form of cultural appropriation. And maybe this group feels like they're honoring general Filipino culture, but when you look at the history of the Philippines, there's a lot of subcultures within the country. And this is just personal opinion, but just because you're Filipino, you're not honoring your heritage by wearing traditional Igorot clothing when your roots lie elsewhere like Mindanao. And I think the same thing should apply for tattoos. Yes, tattoo meanings have changed drastically over the centuries, and modern tattoos are more about expression and personal significance. Which brings up the argument that, because of this change, all these designs should be fair game in how they're used. It's not that simple. It's not like you're just getting a SpongeBob tattoo. These are cultural tattoos that have been around for centuries. I think there's even a mummy from 1500 AD which bear these markings. But what about me and my kanji tattoo? Aren't I appropriating that as well? Quite possibly. I'm not perfect, but at least I'm not saying that I'm honoring my Asian heritage with an Asian tattoo. Do you see the similarity? And sometimes it's not the fault of the person receiving the tattoo. What's even worse is you're told that you're getting a Filipino tattoo when it isn't as authentic as you thought. I personally think that those tattoos are fine as long as you know what you're getting, but I sincerely hope that people aren't being misled. Okay, I think I have to end this video because it's turning into a little bit of a rant, and that's not my goal here. My goal is to start a conversation about tattooing within our culture. How is it being represented in modern society? Is it okay that it's being modernized? Is it okay that it's being appropriated by others with or without the knowledge that they're offending members in the Igorot community? You've heard some of my opinions, and I'd love to know yours. So if you agree or disagree, or just have other opinions on this topic, I'd love to hear about it. So take care, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.